Alright guys, today we're going to show you how to change the control arms on your all-wheel drive V70R or cross country. I think they're all the same. It's going to be the front ones up here. I'm also going to show a list of all the wrenches and everything we need. We're going to need a 14, 15, and a 17, a 13, 14, and 15, a little bit of thread locker, medium strength. We got some parts cleaner, and if you're where I'm at, where we got the rust belt, we're going to need some PB blast for sure. Some gloves, torque wrench, got our pry bar, our 3/4 inch socket there to get the wheels off, and of course we got some refreshments. And a light helps too. So let's get to it. Alright, gonna interrupt a real bit here. As you can see, it's kind of nighttime here. We got the job done. I only broke one bolt, but I'm just gonna show you what I actually ended up using. So we're gonna be 3/4 inch to get the tires off, either a long wrench there or an impact. Use a little baby pry bar, use a screwdriver, flathead, to get the bolts out. Hammer came in real handy. You're going to need it. Lots of PB, lots of brake clean. We need a 14, our 17, and we got our range of sockets, wrenches here. So you got 17 here. That's going to be your main ones to get those big bolts out. We got a 15 with the ratcheting on it. You don't have to have that, but it makes it nice. We got a regular box end 15. We got 14 there, and I actually ended up going to the store and buying a set of these from Harbor Freight. These ended up coming in handy. We got a 14, a 15, a 16, and a 17 on here, and that's to get into that little crevice there where the actual bolt is right here. There's like a little lip. You can't really get this in there, so you're either going to need a 6-point or 12-point there, or you're going to need one of these ones that has a little swoop like that. So that's going to make that a whole lot easier. You're going to need a wrench. And then I got a 14 on here. Pry bar kind of makes it a little bit easier. The other side, you'll see in the video, this side came out a lot easier than the first side. If you have one of those extensions that makes your wrenches longer to get more leverage, I use this one. I had the bolts on there, and I just put this one on there to get more leverage on it. So you don't need a big wrench like this. It's just to help me get more leverage in some of the tight spots. Need a jack, piece of wood, got a light, 2 jack stands, got our snacks, got these, and I had a tripod. You don't need a tripod, obviously, if you're not filming. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Back to the repair. So we're gonna get to our first step. First step is gonna get the car jacked up. We only need the fronts really. So if you don't have a impact gun, we're gonna go ahead and break those before we lift it. But now that we got it up in the air, I'm going to put 2 jacks on the subframe here and there, and then we're going to put another one right in the middle just to hold it, and we're going to get these wheels off. Alright, and just like that, we got our wheel off. And then since we got our studs, we can put our studs in there, and slide the wheel underneath there, get it out of the way. Alright, we come up here and look, you can actually see the bushing right there that goes up, and you can see that it actually has a good bit of play in it. It's enough that whenever I hit the brake, the car is actually trying to pull to the right a little bit, and it's messing up the alignment. So what we're going to look for is we're going to look for right here, this bushing here, and it's also going to be a little different on the front wheel drive one. This one's the all-wheel drive version. So it goes through there, and we're going to look on the other side for a 17 mil. We got one on this side over here. It's going to be the same thing right there. It's going to be a 17 mil, and we're going to go on the other side of the subframe to get those. And then our final one we're going to be looking for is going to be right here. So we're going to get that one and the one on this other side right here. And that'll release that so we can pull our actual control arm all the way out. So let's go ahead and give everything a nice good coating of some PB Blaster. Get it from all angles. And don't forget the bolts from the other side here, because that's the ones that we're actually going to be going for. It's that one, that one, that one, and that one. Don't forget, we got to get all 4 of these. And if you're not in the rust belt, you probably don't have to do it as bad as, but where I'm at, we got to do it. So this is going to be our first one we're going to want to get. We're going to go ahead and try to get these broke. I'm going to get this one, that one over there, and that one over there. Get them all broke. Alrighty. and then on this bolt right here, you might actually have to move the jack to right under the transmission here to get some clearance to be able to pull this bolt out here. And you thought they'd come out easy, they didn't. So you might need yourself a little percussive assistance machine here to get it started. Just make sure you don't strip your threads there. Alright, I'm gonna pull that out, and then that falls down like that. So now, our next part we're gonna be working on is this part right here. But if you're going to be reusing these bolts right here, you can leave them in there. But I want to use the new ones that came with it, so I'm going to lift the transmission up just a little bit so we can get these bolts out. Alright, and now that we got the transmission lifted up a little bit, this is a perfect time to go ahead and slide your new bolts in. That way you don't have to worry about it. We drop the transmission, and now everything else will be on this side. And then while we're at it, while we got everything out of here, it's a perfect time to go ahead and hit everything with a little bit of brake clean. And just clean everything up a little bit in here. Alright, so next up, we're going to get our 15 mil on this side. We're going to get a 13 mil on this side. We're going to go ahead and break this loose right here. Alright, just like that, we got that off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take like a hammer or something, and we're going to push that through, and then this should fall right out. Should. If not, we might need to use the pry bar to pop it out. Woo! That took way longer than I wanted to, but basically I used the little screwdriver pry bar to kind of pull that open, and then I just used this pry bar to push it down. We're out. So we got old one versus new one. Old one here just kind of wiggles all over the place. I can go in and out with it, spin it. But the new one here, it doesn't even really, you have to put a pretty good bit of force into it to get it to actually even move. So, and look at that, there's no boot on this one almost. Good to go on here. Let's get this one in the car. And with this one, the new boot was actually up over there, so I had to pull it down so that way you had this little groove exposed. That way you can just slide it right up in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to get that up in there until you can push that bolt through. Once you got the bolt started like that, where it's most of the way through, and you got the other side lined up, you might have to shift this back and forth a couple of times to get this to push in. And once you get that last little bit, take a little bit of, not too much, but just get a little bit of pressure with a hammer, like a socket or something, finish that through. Then you look something like that. We're going to put a little bit of thread lock on there, and then we'll put that nut on. And there we go. And this is some medium strength red right here. So we got a little bit, and we're getting it on all these new ones we got. And we got it on our new one over here. So we're just going to go ahead and thread our bolt on, or a nut on, and then we're not going to completely cinch it up tight. We're just going to go ahead and snug it, and then we're going to start threading these ones. Alright, so now that we got all these started and threaded to where they're just kind of semi-tight, they're not like super tight all the way, I like to gonna jack this up to ride height roughly, and then now we're gonna go ahead and cinch everything down. Alright, and so now once you get all those tight, you want to hit those pretty hard, get them real tight, about as tight as they were coming off. You can't really get a wrench in there to get torque specs on it, but I got them on there, got them snug, and hit them with the hammer a couple times to make sure they're tight. Got that on there, got that all on there. That looks a whole lot better. So now what we're going to do is take this plastic piece and put that on there, like that. And we're done with this side. Now what we're going to do is do it on the other side. Just before we go to the other side, make sure you check your metal sheet here. Make sure you didn't push it up against the brakes here. Otherwise, if you did, there's a chance you could hear some grinding. So just make sure you look behind there. Make sure it's not, you didn't push it up against this, because sometimes when I was getting that ball joint out the bottom there, I actually pushed it up against here. So just make sure you check that Then we could be able to toss the tire on and we'll be good. And now this one, no wiggle. This one still got wiggle. So now we gotta do this side. Alright, to get to these ones, you're gonna need to jack up the oil pan right there. So we're gonna have to put a jack with a little bit of wood on there, jack up the oil pan side, and we can actually get sockets on those back too. So we just gotta get these front two loose, and we can use a socket on the back ones. You have to get the jack on the oil pan on this side to get those bolts out as well. Alright, and you're going to run into this bolt right here. It's not going to be able to go out because of the oil pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two bolts out right here. They're going to be 14 mil. We're going to take those out, and then that should let us lift this oil pan up. Now that we got that engine mount out, jack that up, that comes out nice and easy. So now what we're going to do is get a 17 mil socket on those two right there, and should be good to get this other side off here. Ah, just like that, we got it off. There's nothing, right? Right?
Suck it.
Alright, well, since we got all this off, we're going to go ahead and clean it while we got everything out of here. Clean it, and then we'll put in the new bolts. That way, when we drop the oil pan, we don't have to worry about it. Well, that broke. But good thing is, the kit comes with a new one, so we just got to push that out. And then pop this out, and then we should be able to start putting new stuff in. And then a little bit of mallet action. And we got our broken bolt out. And we slap this one out. So now, let's take another clean in here real quick. And then we'll go ahead and start putting this one up. And we should be almost done. And then remember, we're going to have to put this back in. So remember that. If you got your fresh new stop like mine, this one, you're going to have to actually pull this down right here. That way it'll go up in there. So pull this down just until you can see that actual rib right there, and that way that'll actually push up in there. Because see how this one was down like that? It's up above this when it comes in, so you gotta push it down. That way when you push it in there, up in there like that, it'll actually slide in right. Alright, and so now we got this. I like to kind of tilt this a little bit so that way we can put it in like this. Get it in there, and then you're gonna give it a nice little push until that rib in there is lined up, and then we can push our bolt in there like so. Make sure it's all the way in. Alrighty, and so now we got that in there. We want to go ahead and put our nut on there, get it started. Don't need to do anything crazy. And then we're gonna pull these up, get them where we need them, and go ahead and start threading these. Alright, and to get these ones started right here, you might have to do what I just did, and you actually have to take this ball back out. That way these will go flush, then you can start this and push that back up just like we did before. And then in this kit, these are all 15, so go ahead and grab your 15 and go ahead and snug these down. Not get them all the way, but just get them snug, hand tight. Alright, and then once you drop your oil pan and engine and everything back down, don't forget your 14 mil bolts here. And here, go ahead and tighten those up, and then we're going to go ahead and jack this up to about right height, and then we're going to go ahead and snug that bolt and all four of these bolts up, and we should be good. And don't forget the last little piece here, clip in your plastic, and then you're done. So all we got to do is do a quick little double check, make sure all of these are tight. We got thread lock on all of these. We got this one here tight. We'll toss our wheel back on, and then we'll be done. Alright guys, it's gonna do it. Actually got a cut in the middle of this. You guys didn't even notice I was gone. So, that's gonna do it. Got that done. I'm gonna start doing a little bit more like maintenance work like this. So used to, I just kind of did it and didn't do anything about it. So I think I'm gonna start actually posting, because bad thing about having this car is that like, there's no videos on how to work on this thing. So I think I'm going to start trying to fill that spot. I'm going to show people what I do. It might not be the right way. It might not be the best way, but it's going to be how I figured it out. And I'm going to share what little tips and tricks I do have. So if you guys enjoy that, stay tuned. And we're going to be taking this to go get an alignment later this week. And then I'm going to start working on wrapping the top of it there. That's going to be coming up soon. So keep an eye out for that. And we're going to be having more coming to you. See you guys later.